The repair drone's warning chirp echoed through the abandoned research station's corridors, alerting Dominic Reeves to yet another system failure. He sighed, brushing aside a lock of unkempt dark hair as he studied the holographic diagnostic display hovering before him. The station's life support was failing again, and he had maybe 6 hours before the backup systems gave out. Just another day in paradise, he muttered, gathering his tools. The station might be abandoned, but it still held valuable alien technology that various corporations paid him handsomely to maintain and study. More importantly, it gave him the solitude he craved after the disaster at Europa Base. The drone led him to a previously sealed section of the station, its amber warning light pulsing in the dim emergency lighting. The air here tasted stale, untouched for decades since the mysterious disappearance of the station's original alien inhabitants. Dominic's boots left fresh tracks in the dust as he followed the drone's guidance. The problem wasn't immediately apparent. The life support conduits appeared intact, their crystalline matrices still humming with residual energy. But something was interfering with their normal operation, creating cascade failures throughout the section. "Show me the energy patterns," he commanded his diagnostic tablet. The holographic display expanded, revealing complex waves of interference emanating from behind a nearby wall panel. Dominic frowned. That shouldn't be possible. The panel concealed only structural supports according to the station's schematics. His curiosity piqued, he began removing the panel, careful not to damage the ancient alien materials. What he found behind it defied explanation: a small chamber, barely large enough for a person to stand in, containing a single crystalline object about the size of his palm. The artifact seemed to pulse with its own inner light, its surface covered in intricate patterns that shifted and changed as he watched. It wasn't like any technology he'd encountered before, either human or alien. The craftsmanship was beyond anything he'd seen. "Log new discovery," he spoke to his tablet. "Unknown technological artifact found in Section 7. Appears to be source of system interference. Composition unknown, but structure suggests." He reached out to touch the artifact, intending only to examine its surface texture. The moment his fingers made contact, the crystal flared with brilliant blue-white light. Energy coursed through his body, not painful but intense, like being immersed in a powerful electrical field. Dominic tried to pull away, but his muscles wouldn't respond. The light grew brighter, and with it came a rush of information, complex mathematical formulae, engineering principles he'd never imagined, and glimpses of technologies that seemed to defy the laws of physics as he understood them. When the light finally faded, he found himself on his knees, gasping for breath. His tablet lay shattered nearby, its circuits overloaded by the energy discharge. But the artifact now rested comfortably in his palm, its glow reduced to a gentle pulse that seemed to match his heartbeat. More surprisingly, he could understand it now. Not completely, but he could sense its purpose, its potential. The artifact was a key of sorts, but not to any physical lock. It was designed to unlock something far more valuable: knowledge. As his mind processed this revelation, the station systems began to respond in unexpected ways. Dormant systems sparked to life, interfaces reconfigured themselves, and even the air seemed fresher somehow. The artifact had given him an intuitive understanding of the alien technology surrounding him. "This changes everything," he whispered, carefully securing the artifact in his tool belt. Already he could think of dozens of applications for this newfound knowledge, improvements to existing systems that now seemed obvious. His excitement was short-lived. The station's proximity alerts began blaring, warning of an approaching vessel. That wasn't unusual in itself, supply ships came regularly. But this ship's energy signature was unlike anything in the station's database. Through the observation window, Dominic watched as a sleek craft of unknown design decelerated into view. Its hull seemed to ripple like liquid metal, and it moved with an organic grace that suggested highly advanced technology. The artifact pulsed warmly against his hip, and somehow he knew, they were coming for it. More importantly, they were coming for him. The knowledge the artifact had given him made him valuable, or dangerous, to whoever had sent this ship. Dominic had minutes at most to decide, stay and face whatever emerged from that ship, or run with his newfound discovery. Either choice would irrevocably change his life, and possibly the future of human-alien relations. The artifact pulsed again, stronger this time, and in that moment he knew there was really no choice at all. He'd spent years hiding from the universe after Europa. Perhaps it was time to face it again, ready or not. He began gathering essential supplies, his enhanced understanding of the station's systems allowing him to quickly access secure storage areas. Whatever came next, he intended to face it on his own terms. The alien ship's docking sequence was unlike anything Dominic had ever witnessed. Instead of traditional mechanical couplings, it merged with the station's hull like two drops of mercury combining. The artifact thrummed against his side, feeding his mind with understanding of the incredible technology at work. He'd taken position in the station's central control hub, where he could monitor all approaches. The artifact's knowledge let him activate defense systems he hadn't even known existed, though he kept them powered down. No sense starting a diplomatic incident. Yet. The airlock cycled, and Dominic's first visitor in months stepped into the station. She, at least he assumed it was a she, moved with liquid grace, her form tall and elegant. Her skin had a translucent quality that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, with patterns of light flowing beneath the surface like distant galaxies. Most striking were her eyes, solid silver orbs that seemed to contain entire universes. "You've activated the Nexus shard," she said, her voice resonating in his mind rather than his ears. That was unexpected. Dominic kept his distance, one hand near the artifact. "I'm Dominic Reeves, station engineer." "And you are?" "I am Naira, observer for the Centauri Collective." She moved closer, her movements almost hypnotic. "You should not have been able to interface with the shard. Human neural architecture lacks the necessary complexity. Or so we believed." "Sorry to disappoint," Dominic replied, though he felt anything but sorry. The artifact, the Nexus shard, was feeding him impressions of Naira's species. The Centauri were among the oldest spacefaring races, self-proclaimed guardians of advanced technology. "I take it this belongs to you?" Naira's skin rippled with patterns of light that his newly enhanced mind recognized as amusement. "The shards belong to no one. They choose their wielders. What fascinates me is why this one chose you." She gestured, and the air between them filled with holographic data, his complete history. The Europa disaster was prominently featured, the incident that had driven him to seek isolation among the stars. "Your species is young, volatile. Your own past suggests instability. Yet the shard responds to you as it would to a Centauri sage. Maybe your assumptions about humans need updating," Dominic suggested, increasingly aware of how the shard was changing him. His mind felt expanded, able to process multiple complex concepts simultaneously. "We're full of surprises." "Indeed." Naira's silver eyes studied him with unnerving intensity. "The question is whether those surprises represent opportunity or threat. The shard's activation has not gone unnoticed. Others will come, seeking both it and you." As if summoned by her words, the station's alerts blared again. 3 more ships had appeared at the system's edge, their energy signatures marking them as distinctly different from Naira's vessel. "The Void Hunters," Naira said, her mental voice tight with concern. "They seek to control all advanced technology, believing lesser species unworthy of its power. They will not ask politely, nor will they leave witnesses." Dominic's enhanced mind rapidly analyzed options, combining his engineering knowledge with the shard's insights. "The station's defense grid won't hold them for long. We need to leave." "We?" Naira's skin flickered with surprise patterns. "You came alone in what I'm guessing is a highly advanced ship." I have knowledge you find fascinating and technology you want to protect. Those hunters want us both dead. Seems like cooperation is our best option. The Void Hunters' ships were accelerating toward the station, their weapon systems charging. Dominic could feel their hostile intent through the shard's expanding awareness. Naira studied him for a moment longer, then inclined her head. Your logic is sound. But understand this, if you prove dangerous, if the shard's choice proves misguided, I will end you myself. Fair enough. Dominic grabbed his prepared pack. I promise not to try to conquer the galaxy or anything similarly dramatic. Now, shall we? They moved swiftly through the station's corridors, Naira's liquid grace contrasting with Dominic's efficient purpose. The shard pulsed with increasing urgency as the hunter ships drew closer. Your ship, Dominic said as they ran, it's partially organic, isn't it? A biomechanical hybrid with quantum-entangled processing cores? Naira's surprise manifested as ripples of light across her skin. The shard shows you this? That and more. I think I can improve your engine efficiency by at least 30%. The quantum matrices aren't optimally aligned for. Later, Naira interrupted as they reached her ship's merged airlock. For now, we must survive. The interior of Naira's vessel defied conventional spaceship design. Surfaces flowed and shifted, responding to thought and touch. There were no obvious controls, just an open space that reconfigured itself as needed. As they prepared for emergency departure, Dominic felt the shard's power surge through him. Understanding bloomed in his mind, not just of the ship's systems, but of its underlying principles. He reached out, letting instinct guide him, and the ship responded. Impossible, Naira whispered as the vessel's systems integrated with Dominic's enhanced consciousness. You shouldn't be able to. The first shots from the Void Hunters cut off her words, but Dominic was already moving. Under his guidance, Naira's ship danced through the barrage with impossible grace, its systems performing beyond their designed capabilities. As they accelerated away from the station in his old life, Dominic felt no regret. The universe had just become much larger, much more complex, and infinitely more interesting. The real question was, what other impossible things would he achieve before this adventure ended? 3 days of faster-than-light travel had transformed Naira's ship into something new. Dominic's enhanced understanding, fueled by the Nexus shard, had led to modifications that even Naira found remarkable. The biomechanical vessel now moved with unprecedented efficiency, its quantum systems harmonizing in ways their designers hadn't imagined possible. Your changes violate several laws of physics, Naira observed, her silver eyes tracking the flowing patterns of energy through the ship's enhanced systems. At least, the laws as we understood them. Dominic looked up from where he was fine-tuning a quantum matrix, the shard pulsing steadily at his hip. The laws aren't wrong, just incomplete. The shard shows me the gaps in our understanding, the places where reality has more flexibility than we assumed. The ship's interior had evolved to accommodate their work, sprouting new interfaces and diagnostic systems that merged human and Centauri design philosophies. Even Naira's people, with their advanced technology, had never achieved such perfect synthesis. The hunters are still pursuing, she said, gesturing at the sensor displays. 3 more vessels have joined their fleet. Your modifications give us an advantage, but we cannot run forever. No, Dominic agreed, standing to study the tactical display. But that's not what the shard wants anyway. He'd been receiving increasingly clear impressions from the artifact, glimpses of a greater purpose. Naira's skin rippled with concerned patterns. You speak as if it has consciousness. Not exactly. It's more like. Dominic struggled to find the right words. It's a key that unlocks potential, but it's also a guide. It responds to the user's nature, their capabilities and intentions. The hunters want to use it to control other species' access to technology. That's why it resists them. And what does it want with you? Before Dominic could answer, the ship's alerts blared. A new vessel had appeared, massive in scale, its design unlike anything in Naira's extensive databases. Its surface was a fractal pattern of impossible geometries, and its energy signature defied analysis. The precursors, Naira whispered, patterns of odd dancing across her skin. They were said to have vanished eons ago, leaving only artifacts like your shard. No one has seen their ships since. The vessel dwarfed their ship, its presence somehow both threatening and inviting. The shard pulsed with recognition, feeding Dominic's mind with new information. They're not precursors, he said with sudden certainty. They're what comes next. What the shard is helping to create. Images flooded his consciousness, civilizations rising and falling, technology evolving, species reaching toward their ultimate potential. The shard wasn't just a repository of knowledge, it was a catalyst for evolution itself. The hunters, Naira said urgently. They're changing course, moving to intercept the new arrival. Dominic's enhanced mind processed tactical data faster than any computer. They think it's a precursor vault ship, loaded with advanced technology. They don't understand what they're dealing with. The massive ship made no hostile moves as the hunter fleet approached. It simply waited, its fractal surface shifting in mesmerizing patterns. The shard's pulses grew stronger, more insistent. It wants us to dock, Dominic realized. Before the hunters. The space between the hunter ships suddenly bloomed with energy, but not weapons fire. Reality itself seemed to twist, creating a quantum knot that trapped the hostile vessels in a temporal bubble. Impossible, Naira breathed. That level of space-time manipulation is exactly what the shard's been preparing me for, Dominic finished. His mind was expanding further, grasping concepts that would have driven him mad just days ago. The hunters tried to control evolution through force. But true evolution requires understanding, cooperation, synthesis. He turned to Naira, seeing her in a new light. The Centauri's role as guardians of technology wasn't about control, it was about preservation, maintaining the galaxy's knowledge until species were ready to take the next step. Your people were right to watch and wait, he said. But now it's time for more. The shard didn't choose me because I'm human. It chose me because I understand that technology isn't about power, it's about potential. The massive ship extended a docking tendril, its fractal surface flowing like liquid mathematics. The shard's pulse synchronized with the ship's energy patterns, creating harmonics that Dominic could feel in his bones. What will we find aboard? Naira asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her natural caution. Dominic smiled as the ship's systems responded to his enhanced consciousness, preparing for docking. The future. And if I'm right, we're not just going to find it, we're going to help create it. The shard flared with approval as their ship merged with the massive vessel's docking interface. Whatever waited within would change not just their lives, but the course of galactic evolution. The real question was, were they ready for what came next? The interior of the massive vessel defied conventional geometry. Corridors shifted and reformed as Dominic and Naira explored, responding to some unfathomable logic. The shard pulsed in complex rhythms, each beat expanding Dominic's understanding of their surroundings. This architecture, Naira said, her silver eyes tracking the flowing patterns in the walls, it's like the ship is thinking, evolving in real time. Her natural bioluminescence resonated with the ambient energy, creating interference patterns that danced across her skin. It is, Dominic confirmed, letting the shard's knowledge flow through him. The entire vessel is a single conscious entity. Not alive in the way we understand it, but aware. Growing. Learning from us as we learn from it. They entered a vast chamber that seemed to contain an entire galaxy in miniature. Stars and nebulae swirled around them, each point of light containing data about different civilizations, different approaches to technology and evolution. The hunters are still out there, Naira observed, watching the temporal bubble that held the hostile fleet. The stasis field won't hold forever. It doesn't need to. Dominic reached out, letting his enhanced consciousness interface with the ship's systems. The galactic display responded, highlighting specific points of light. Look at this. Every civilization that achieved true advancement did it through synthesis, combining different species' perspectives and abilities. The display shifted, showing failed civilizations that had attempted to hoard or control technology. The hunter's philosophy had been tried countless times before, always leading to stagnation or destruction. The shard isn't just a key to knowledge, Dominic continued, understanding flowing through him. It's part of a larger system. A network of catalysts scattered throughout the galaxy, waiting for species to evolve enough to use them properly. But why choose a human? Naira asked, though her tone suggested she was beginning to understand. Your species is so young, so adaptable, Dominic finished. Humans don't just use technology, we improve it, combine it in new ways. We see possibilities where others see limits. He gestured at the modified ship that had brought them here. Look what we accomplished in just 3 days. The chamber's displays shifted again, showing potential futures. In some, the hunter's philosophy of control led to a dark age of technological stagnation. In others, cooperation between species created advances beyond anything currently imaginable. The shard chose me because humans are natural synthesizers, Dominic explained. We take ideas from everywhere, combine them, improve them. But we need the wisdom of older species like the Centauri to guide us, to help us understand the responsibilities that come with advancement. Naira's skin rippled with revelation patterns. A perfect symmetry. Our knowledge and caution, balanced with your innovation and adaptability. The ship's consciousness brushed against their minds, sharing deeper understanding. It wasn't just about technology, it was about the evolution of consciousness itself. The next step in galactic development required the merging of different perspectives, different ways of thinking. The hunters, Naira said suddenly, noting changes in the temporal bubble. They're adapting to the stasis field, finding ways to counter it. Their ships are transforming. Dominic studied the tactical displays. The hunter vessels were indeed changing, their hulls reconfiguring into more aggressive configurations. They had captured and reversed enough of the ship's technology to begin breaking free. They don't understand, he said, frustration coloring his voice. They think this is about power, about control. They're trying to force evolution instead of embracing it. The ship's consciousness resonated with his thoughts, offering possibilities. The shard pulsed with new intensity, showing Dominic potential solutions that merged human intuition, Centauri wisdom, and the ship's vast knowledge. We need to show them, he realized. Not fight them, teach them. The same way the shard taught me, the way your people learn to be guardians instead of conquerors. And how do we do that, Naira asked, when they're determined to destroy us? Dominic smiled as the solution crystallized in his enhanced mind. By giving them exactly what they want, access to advanced technology. But not in the way they expect. He reached out to the ship's systems, letting his consciousness merge more deeply with its own. The shard flared with power, creating new connections, new possibilities. Around them, the chamber's galactic display began to shift and change, preparing to demonstrate the true meaning of evolution to their adversaries. The hunters were about to learn that the greatest power wasn't in controlling technology, but in understanding its true purpose, bringing different minds together to create something entirely new. The temporal bubble containing the hunter fleet finally shattered. Their transformed ships emerged like predators from darkness, weapons charged and hulls gleaming with stolen technology. But Dominic was ready. They expect us to fight, he said, his consciousness merged with the vast ship's systems. To prove their philosophy that power belongs to those strong enough to take it. Instead, we show them true strength, Naira finished, her silver eyes reflecting the swirling galactic display around them. The ship's consciousness flowed through her too now, creating a trinity of perspectives: human innovation, Centauri wisdom, and the ship's vast knowledge. The hunter fleet launched their attack, but their weapons met neither shields nor counterfire. Instead, their energy beams passed through a series of quantum transforms that Dominic had designed, each blast becoming part of something larger. "Watch," he told Naira as the transformed energy began to coalesce between the ships. The shard pulsed in harmony with his enhanced consciousness, turning destructive power into creative force. In the space between vessels, reality itself began to shift. The hunter's weapon's fire was being reconstructed into a three-dimensional model of galactic evolution, showing how different species and technologies had merged and grown throughout history. "Their own attack is becoming their education," Naira observed, her skin rippling with appreciation of the elegant solution. "Forcing them to see the bigger picture." The hunter ships halted their assault, clearly confused by the unexpected response. Dominic pressed the advantage, using the ship's communication systems to broadcast directly into their vessels. "You seek power," his voice reached them, enhanced by the ship's consciousness. "But you've misunderstood its true nature. Let me show you what real advancement looks like." Through the quantum display, he showed them the modifications he'd made to Naira's ship, demonstrating how human creativity and Centauri technology had merged to create something greater than either could achieve alone. He showed them the vast network of shards scattered throughout the galaxy, waiting not for conquerors, but for those who understood the power of synthesis. "Your weapons can't take this knowledge," he explained as the hunter crews watched in fascination. "It has to be earned through understanding, through cooperation. The shards don't choose the strongest, they choose those who can see beyond strength." The lead hunter vessel's commander, voice heavy with realization, responded, "All this time, we thought we were fighting for evolution's peak. But we were actually preventing it." "Evolution isn't about domination," Naira added, her mental voice joining the broadcast. "It's about adaptation, combination, finding new ways to grow together." The ship's consciousness expanded further, touching the minds of every hunter crew member, sharing the vast library of knowledge stored within its quantum memory. Not forcing understanding, but offering it to those ready to receive. One by one, the hunter vessels powered down their weapons. Their hulls began to shift again, but this time not into weapons of war. They were adapting, changing to reflect their crew's expanding understanding. "They're beginning to see," Dominic said, feeling the change through his connection with the ship. "Really see." The shard pulsed with approval as the hunter ships transformed into something new, not quite like Naira's vessel, not quite like the vast conscious ship, but a unique combination that reflected their own perspective and growing wisdom. And this, Naira realized, is just the beginning. There are more shards out there, more species ready to take the next step. They just need guides to show them the way. Dominic nodded, understanding his new role. The shard hadn't chosen him to be a keeper of technology or a warrior against those who would misuse it. It had chosen him to be a teacher, a bridge between species and perspectives. "The real work starts now," he said, watching the former hunter ships begin to dock with their vessel. "Helping others understand what we've learned. Showing them that the future isn't about control or domination. It's about harmony," Naira finished, her hand finding his as they watched new possibilities unfold before them. Different voices joining together to create something greater than any could achieve alone. The vast ship's consciousness hummed with approval as former enemies became students, then partners in the greatest project in galactic history. The shard pulsed steadily at Dominic's side, no longer just a key to knowledge but a symbol of what was possible when different minds came together in pursuit of true understanding. Above them, the galactic display shifted to show new potential futures, each brighter than the last. The age of conflict was ending. The age of synthesis was about to begin.